What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the 24-Hour Marketing Mastermind, where we are going to be having a fun time today. All right, now I know you guys are keen to get this going, and we are. We actually have a special guest here today. Not special, okay? Guest, and we want to. I want to cover a few things before we go on to this topic because some people have presuppositions and ideas about marketing, and I just want to clear some things out. All right, now, what's going to be happening today is we're going to be introducing some people first before I carry on and not be so rude. So we're going to say hi to Pops, who's going to be doing comments today. Pops, say hi to everybody.
Ah,
Okay. I don't think we have.
there. Now I'm unmuted. Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
Hi. And then we have Katie. Katie, you wanna say hi?
Hi, Dad. You're so funny.
All right, cool. All right, so
Technically challenged.
yeah, that's cool. We were all there. I want to talk to you guys about presuppositions and marketing, and sometimes this can actually hinder your growth as a marketer. And I want you to please listen to what I'm trying to say. A lot of the times when we hear things, we might be saying to ourselves, "Oh, I know this," or "This doesn't really apply to me. Please get onto something that I can actually use." Now, I want you to look at this from a different perspective. Whenever you hear something or somebody's teaching something that you already know, or perhaps you're hearing a story and you don't really relate to it, I want you to think about it this way. I want you to think about how the training you are hearing or anything that you are hearing can apply to somebody else. So your responsibility as a marketer after going to a hangout is to somehow take information from that and then to apply it to somebody else, because it may not apply to you directly, but it could apply to lots of other people who can relate. And I want you to please understand what I'm saying. When we go into marketing, you've got to have this idea that you're trying to help other people succeed, because the only way that you're going to succeed is if you help other people succeed. And that's a tremendous truth that Zig Ziglar always spoke about. So today what we're going to be talking about is what we're going to be discussing, and the special guest today is Katie. Katie is actually going to be telling us her story. And don't look so shocked, Katie. You knew about this. So Katie's going to be sharing a story with us. Um, and if you see the title of this hangout, it says 31 jobs in 3 years. And let me just say, first of all, that sounds like a lifetime. I don't know how Katie managed to put it off, but she's
It,
going to be
it's
sharing.
it's seven. It's 17 years. I'm sorry. That's a
Oh, is it
correction.
17? Oh, I'm
31
sorry.
jobs in 17 years. That's okay.
Oh, okay, 31 jobs in 17 years. Still, that's quite hectic. All right, that's quite hectic. My apologies. But anyway, I mean that's crazy talk. Beside the point, Katie's going to be sharing her story with us, because this is the type of thing that we need to hear. Every now and then we need to hear how somebody else pushed through and got through to the other side, becoming successful. And I want Katie to share that with us. So Katie, please, why don't you share with us how you actually got involved with Empower Network, and what was your process? What were the things that turned things around for you, if you wouldn't mind sharing that with us? And for those of you who are listening, please type in yes in the comments that you would like to hear Katie's story, because I know that it's going to help a lot of people. This might actually help you and understand maybe the difficulties you're going through, because I know that when I got started, the only reason that I was actually able to push through was because I was inspired by somebody else who did something that rang true for me. So please, Katie, why don't you share with us your story and tell us how you managed to accumulate so many jobs in so many years.
Well, if you've ever heard this before, that the world does need employees, okay, It's good to be an employee. We need them. I just don't want to be one. Okay. And I guess the 31 jobs in 13 years is just, I always wanted to find something. And I've actually, for those of you who know that I'm on a 21 video challenge, and what's so cool about this challenge is that there's questions that's brought to me and challenges for every day that challenges me to tell me about myself, which I would probably never have done in the past. So this is actually a good way to push me through to tell my story. So I encourage anybody who wants to do that 21 blog challenge or video challenge, we can certainly set that up for you. But so through the whole 17-year history job that I have this book, by the way. This whole book, if I had this book for 17 years, it has all my jobs I've ever had. And the reason why I have it all written down and every information is because I always went and looked for a different job. So whenever I updated my resume, I wanted to say, okay, let's see, what's relevant to this job. Okay, I've done this and done that. So, you know, I would always get hired anywhere that I wanted to go because I've always had the experience. But anyways, and part of the story that I've told in that 21-day challenge is through the 17-year experience, I've always came and realized that there's always the same thing, just a different place. You know, you're always going to find people who are crabby, who hate their job, who complain that they're always stuck, and it's like, who wants to be surrounded by that? So once I realized, I guess I'm a slow learner, 17 years later, 31 jobs later, I realized, I'm like, you know, there's got to be something better than this. Really, there is. And Pops, he's growing, as I was growing up, he'd always like have something on the side. So he's kind of like, you know, my little, you know, my dad entrepreneur, you know, doing some things on the side. So one day, 3 years ago, on April 16th, the day after taxes, 2013, my dad was watching this really funny video with a guy with really crazy hair and a tank top and sandals. And I went downstairs, you know, because he lives in my basement. Don't worry, I let him out once in a while to water and feed him. So I go downstairs to go talk to him and tell him something about, like, okay, hey, this is the new job I was looking for, because I was looking for a new job, like my 32nd, let's just say. And I went downstairs to tell him about it, and I saw this video, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, what is this? So he says, you just got to watch it. You know, one of those things where, like, okay, you don't explain everything to them. You don't puke on anybody. Just watch it. Make your own educated decision. So that's what happened, and that's when I joined Empower Network for the first time. And 5 days later, I went to my first event because, you know, I just wanted to check this out and see if it was real. So I got into, at the time, it was a $25 blog. And after that event, I had a notebook just full of just notes and meeting people and for the first time and hearing their story. And so I had a notebook full of stories and golden nuggets, and I don't know what made me write all those notes down, but I did. So as Mike Hobbs, the $1 Million Earner in Empower Network, says, that notes are uncashed checks, right? So I brought those notes home, and I decided that I wanted to be surrounded by these people who are always uplifting and giving you encouragement, want to see you succeed all the time. It's such an awesome feeling, and they help you where they provide awesome training, always up to date. And so I wanted to be a part of that. And of course, when you first get started, it's all about the money, right? But once you start getting into the training and start shifting from, I had to shift from an employee mindset to an entrepreneur mindset. So that's once I made that shift, I realized it's not about me. So 3 months later, 90 days later, on the next event in Denver, I was already all in. So I mean, that's how fast I took action. I can't snap, by the way. So just so that's the background on how I got into Empower Network.
how easy was it for you to actually get into the actual system? I mean, when you looked at the products and that, what made you realize that that was incredibly valuable?
I guess I didn't. I don't know if I really realized it right away. I'm always told what to do, or I always do what I'm told to do. So when I watched the first video, there's David Wood telling me, okay, you got to do this, this, and this. So I did it. So I'm like, okay, so like literally the first video, this is the old training video in the beginner's guide. The first video, he says, like the first half hour into it, is he says, pause, write your first blog post, and then come back to this video. And that's exactly what I did. I paused it, and I went and wrote my first blog, and I had no clue what, I never heard of network marketing before. I've never known what a blog was. And so my first blog was, what is a blog, right? So, so that was my first blog. And so after I wrote my blog, I went back into the training, and I'm just writing notes because I'm a note taker. And another funny thing is that when I was taking notes, I had to actually stop and rewind one of the training videos because I'm like, did he just say webinar? What the hell is a webinar? Like, is that even a word? You know, that's how brand new I was. So, and I was typing it in my computer, and I'm like, it's not even spelled right. It's got the little red line on the bottom of it. You know, it's like it's not even a real word. So, so my point is that you can come from somebody totally brand new who has no clue what even a blog was or what network marketing is or anything like that to like fast forward to today where I'm at now. It's such an amazing journey. It's amazing.
Katie,
Obviously, carry
Katie and
on.
I never did any Facebook at all
Oh,
until
right.
I got on Facebook first because of Empower Network, because Dave Wood, he hypnotized me. Well, kind of, you know, it's just unbelievable the way the guy speaks. You can tell it's from the heart, and you can tell he's honest, really. I mean, just right out the gate. When Katie's still going, I'm not getting on that Facebook.
You can't make me.
No way. And now she's all over the place. It's crazy. It's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you my shirt. It says, I love superheroes. Okay? I didn't feel like that at the beginning. I didn't feel like a superhero. I felt like I didn't know anything. But now I have like a whole list of people that make me feel like a superhero. So I want to give a shout out to Dave, Pops, and Desmond soon. I think you're watching. That's you know, so I want to say hi to him. And I want to say thanks to you know David Wood, and you know just there's a whole list of people that I started to follow. Actually, I call myself the secret stalker. You know, so I stalk people because I want to be like them. So I want to be where they are. You know, I'm in a place where I feel like I just did a video today on like what's the definition of success, and I think success is how you feel success is. If you feel successful, then you're successful. Okay, you have success. And it doesn't have to do anything with money. You don't have to have money to be successful. You can, I think just being able to be blessed to wake up in the morning and see the morning light, that's success. You know, you're blessed with another day to make it epic, right? So you have your health, you have the knowledge that you have in the Empower Network products, you have the skills that you are constantly learning new skills, right? So you're, you know, just constantly doing that. So, did you have any more questions? Like, give me more questions.
Sure.
I want that.
Yeah,
I'm going to be all over the place otherwise.
No, that's fine, Katie. We really appreciate how down to earth you are. Desmond said it best. He said you're really down to earth, and that is one thing Katie is. If you meet Katie, because I've met Katie personally when I went to Vegas, she is exactly the type of person you're seeing right now. So you know, there's no hidden agenda with her. She's completely genuine, and that's one of the things I appreciate about Katie. She is so on the ball. And also, the other thing you need to realize is that Katie has had quite a long journey with Empower Network. And Katie, I was wondering if you could talk about that. And because you've recently had quite a bit of success, and I was wanting to talk about what is it that actually got you to turn around that way of thinking when you actually, because I know you had quite a long stint where you weren't having success in Empower Network, and then something happened, turned around, and you just started to make sales all the time. If you could talk about the metamorphosis with us, I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate it.
Absolutely. So when I first got started, there was a lot of people that I was surrounding myself with that had all this success. Yes, I wanted that success, but I didn't believe in myself. And I didn't believe in myself for a long time, which is key. You have to believe, okay? You have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in the products, the company, and if first and foremost, if you don't believe in yourself, I can probably speak for Dave and Pops that we believe in you. Seriously, honestly, because we know that we've been there. We know what you're going to go through. If you're brand new, we know what you're going to go through because we've been there. And we can recognize, by the questions you ask, by the comments you make that, okay, we know where you're at and you're right on point. So you just keep on keeping on, right, Dave?
Hey, Katie, Jamie was wondering what skills you've learned that helped you the most.
Leadership. You want to take action and be a leader and make the decision because that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a leader. I didn't want to be a follower forever, as in, like, you want to be a follower, but you want to scale up, like who you want to follow. It's okay to surpass. Like my new team members, if they surpass me, that's fine. And that means I'm just not growing as fast as them. Okay. So I think leadership is number one key. You got to learn to be a leader and take action, because once you learn that skill, it all comes automatic where you're always going to think ahead. Like, I have not had a day off from Empower Network since April of 2013. Listen to audios every day. I listen to books, always in learning mode, okay? So you always want to strive for that next skill, because it doesn't matter what level you're at, whether you haven't made a sale yet, or if you've made a few sales, or if you're making $1,000 a month or $5,000. There's always another step that you want to strive for. So even if you made $1 million already in Empower Network, then you still want to go up from there because you just want to keep going. So I think a leadership skill is probably the best skill, because you're going to shift that mind to not waiting for someone to tell you what to do, but taking action and making it happen for yourself. So if that answers. But so
talk about your metamorphosis into what
Yep.
actually got you there.
Thank you. So what happened is that when I first got started, I didn't have that belief, and it took me a long time. And what helped me believe in myself is blogging. It really did. It was the products and the inner circle, specifically the elite club. So if you don't have that, definitely upgrade. And we'll give you some. I will personally give you the ones that I listened to that really changed everything. So I got a list of them. So I started listening to Inner Circle every day, and I started blogging every day because I was told to, right? So I have to do what I'm told. So I found myself through blogging, and I keep saying that in the past, like, oh, I found myself, but to define that, I learned different skills. So there's something that I would be interested in, I would blog, I would learn it and then blog about it, okay? And then I would have that skill and I would have that knowledge, so I would find myself and who I am and find my purpose, that kind of thing. So I think the blogging platform is huge in the part of my transformation. What really changed everything, like we're talking about stories today, was actually just 1 year ago, this coming up, was I think it was the Vegas event where Chris Rushlow went up on stage and he told his story about, his epic story, where he talked about his struggles and his wake-up call, his breakthroughs, and what he realized about himself. And I think that's what it's about, is you find a lot about yourself, and that's what creates the breakthrough, is that you realize that it's a really cool feeling. So there's something that triggered, I've heard it before, but there's told in a way where it just clicks. So that's why I listen to all the products like 8 different times. I literally listen to all the products like 8 different times because every time I listen to it, there's something new and there's a new breakthrough. So, like what you were saying, Dave, that yeah, you may have heard it before, but always go back and listen to it. So that's why we're so huge on 21 days. And but anyways, I'm getting off track. So I listened to Chris Rushlow's story, and something happened, like a light bulb just clicked. And it was just like some regular story, nothing to it, because I've heard stories. That's what you do when you go to an Empower Network event, is you get to hear the stories, and I think that's important because you get to hear somebody's story, find out what their journey is. So something clicked when Chris Rushlow told his story, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I've been wasting my time like for the last 2 years. What? It's like I finally took action, and I realized that there's things that I needed to do in order to, take control of my business, take myself seriously, and take my business seriously, and take action. So then I went to work as soon as I got home. So
now, I'm sure a lot of people are asking, what is it you exactly did?
Okay, so what I exactly did, it's actually a lot simpler than you think. I started to think about, when I got home, I started to think about the people that impacted in my life. So I'm like, I'm going to do an interview with them. So I reached out to the key people that I've been stalking and did an interview with them. And I started getting used to being on camera, because I didn't do videos yet. I started to listen to how they're telling their story, or I wanted more stories. You know what I mean? Because that's what helped me with my huge breakthrough. So I wanted to also create authority online with these people who are already where I want to be at, and they're already getting some traffic with their name. So I utilized that too as well. So I wanted to get an interview with them. Even it was just me and them, and they didn't care whether there was a viewer or not, or 1 or 0 or whatever. I started to pretty much doing what Dave's doing now, which is I wanted to start doing a weekly hangout. So that led to meeting actually Pat Patterson. And what I tend to do is I listen to an inner circle when there's a brand new one that comes up. I like, oh, this guy's kind of cool. Like, whoa, he went through that, and I called up Pat Patterson specifically, and I said, I would like for you to be on my hangout. I want to interview you. I thought your inner circle was pretty awesome. So he says, you know what? Your hangouts are the same exact time as my hangouts. So instead, why don't you come to my hangout? I'll have you as my guest, and you can tell your story. And I'm like, I don't know what my story is, Like, what am I supposed to say? And if you were there, Dave, so like, I felt like on my side, I felt like I was just rambling, and I didn't know what to say. I almost feel like that now, but So
Doing fine, Katie.
yeah, and that's just the way I am. It's like I'm not used to talking about myself. I can like talk about anybody else anytime I want. I'm just not used to talking about myself. So I got on Pat Patterson's hangout, and I just kind of stayed. He couldn't kick me out. I just kept showing up. So he's like, okay, we can't get rid of her, so we might as well make her a moderator or something. No. So I kind of found my calling on his hangout. So with that kind of snowballed effect on how hangouts are how they're like team hangouts, because I never had that. I never had an upline help. So it was kind of nice to feel what it feels like to be surrounded by a team, and how people like get trained in. So eventually, when my team gets bigger, I'm going to have my own hangout and know what to do. So
like a lot of the leaders will tell you, and they say it on stage, if you see me out in the hall, come on up and ask for, a photo and stuff like that. How about if you share your Denver story and what you did with what you did with my phone and those pictures?
Okay, nice. Okay, so okay, it's been a year now. This is a year anniversary since I've gotten a smartphone. I've never had a touch tone phone. I'm dinosaur, whatever. So I had real buttons before. And so 2 years ago, I didn't have a phone. Okay, I had just a crappy Smiley. That's what they call it. It's a T-Mobile Smiley phone. I thought it was perfect for me. Anyways, so in Chicago was our first event. I got to learn all these people, and in between the events, I connected with a whole bunch of anybody that was an Empower Network. I just reached out to them, and I wanted to friend them. And so then I got to start to know them. And in Denver, that's when my stalker status started. And I just went celebrity mode, like, oh my gosh, there's Mike Hobbs, or hey, there's Chuck Marshall, or hey, there's all these people that I've learned, like Tissa. There's all the people that I got to meet, Landon Stewart, and what I did in Denver is everybody that I connected with, even Paul Hutchings, I connected with everybody on Facebook, and what I did is I walked up to them and I said, hey, we're friends on Facebook, I just wanted a picture. Like, oh yeah, sure, why not? So I would steal Dad's phone because I didn't have a smartphone, and I had his phone all weekend. So I'm like, oh, Dad, give me the phone, I'm going to go down. And what I used to do is in Denver is during the breaks, I would actually run down to the front, take a quick snap, and like run away. So I'm like, I remember walking up to Mike Hobbs or Chuck Marshall, and I would just like, candid camera or whatever, and it worked out pretty well, actually. And I did that with Lawrence Tam and Chris Record. I had some really awesome photos that were just like, bah! So that was a funny experience.
Desmond has a good question.
Okay.
He says that there are a lot of people who sign up and they have no leader, no sponsor. Do people need a sponsor, and do they need an upline or a team, or can they just be a leader?
Absolutely. He totally just said everything I wanted to say, that your sponsor does not matter, and your upline, I used that as an excuse for a long time that, my sponsor isn't, I took action and reached out to him, but he didn't, that was his choice or whatever to ignore me, which is good because I think it turned me into a better person. You're not always going to get that, by the way. So what I did is I took action and I reached out to people and I found myself a mentor. Many mentors, and it could be anybody. It could be people who have passed away already, like Zig Ziglar or Jim Rohn or whatever. A lot of leaders in Empower Network, on the other hand, most of them are approachable. And you got to find out what a mentor, find out from that person that you want to be a mentor, find out what that means to both of you, because you don't want to be hounding them with like questions, especially if you can find that in a product. So, because they're busy with their team, and you got to be respectful of that, especially if you don't have your own upline. So what I did is I just followed them. So that's where the stalker status come, and I implemented what they did. Like I looked on Facebook, I watched what they were doing, what they were posting, and I wanted to be them, so I did what they did. And also another good tip is to opt in to their email list and find out what they're sending to their list. I mean, you can't get into their team's emails, but you'll get used to that and get the gist of it. So like I've been saying that for a while, is that you have to go find your mentor. Nobody's gonna come. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna come on a shining, white horse and come save the day and fix all your problems. Because Dave talked about this is a crying time. Like you have a moment where you cry. I had that moment, and I was just declaring that nobody's gonna come save me. I gotta take action. So I took action. So I did a burning, like you write it down and then you burn it. So I had that on a piece of paper that I blamed my sponsor and I burned it, and then that was it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting how when people get started and they look to their sponsor and they don't get any help, and a lot of people have had this issue, but here's the thing, what's interesting is that, Katie and myself, we're not in the same team at all. We teamed up, And even with Pat, we're not on his team. But the whole idea is that we look into people who are able to help you, and if they have time, can help you. And I know that when Katie, I mean, she had this process by which she started to, I need to follow people. So she took it upon herself to go to all these events, take pictures with these celebrities, and really connect with them until she found somebody that would give her the time where she could be mentored, and that is exactly the type of attitude you should be having inside this business. If you're not getting help from your sponsor, don't look at them and blame them
Right.
for your failings, because at the end of the day, you are entirely responsible for your own success. And I mean, Kat, I don't know if you want to talk about this for a moment, because a lot of people might be thinking, what exactly, like, what is it you actually did? And I know that I gave you a strategy that I've used called SAM. Talk about how you actually went about that and the process, if you wouldn't mind sharing that with people.
Great. So you gave me this strategy where I do the SAM, which we do have a
Mm-hmm.
training video on that, and that's basically doing binary reviews on faulty sites, softwares. And I try not to use the word scam, but that's pretty much what they are. They kind of take your money and run. So I did a lot of reviews on that, and Dave says it worked for him because he learned it from his mentor. And he says that I heard it in his voice, like, I did 4 videos. Or, I was told to do 2, but I did 4. And I'm like, okay, I'll do 4. you know? So, and one day I did 8, I think, because I just wanted to catch up because I missed the day before. So that's just how I am. I'm all OCD about it. I got to I missed a day, so I got to catch up. So, what that did is, not only did I feel like I was wearing a cape and saving people from these binaries, but it also trained me on how to talk on a video. Okay, I was already at the point already doing a couple of things with videos, but not very often. But it got me really used to talking to someone like one-on-one, that kind of thing. So that's the skill that I learned. And now with this 21 video challenge, I was ready to take this challenge and be able to, I had all the 3 years worth of stuff in my head that I just want to get out, right, and finally share with people, which is exciting. So your strategy, Dave, it's been what, 6 months, and I've gained from 0 signups and 0 emails to getting all that set up from Dave's help, and I went from I did the numbers today, 930 names in all free leads, definitely free, and it's amazing. I've had personally maybe 20 some odd people sign up under me, and it's just a really awesome feeling, and it's consistent.
And that is the key, because whenever you people that get into a system, people say, what are the basic elements for getting started? And it really just boils down to, first of all, having a why. Okay, so having a passion for what you want to do, which you clearly had, having a clear intention. Because if you don't have an intention, it's not going to work. I mean, if you don't know where you're going, you're just going to be aimless, going in a direction you don't know where to go. So you need to have
aim that arrow. Got to aim the arrow, otherwise it's just going to land anywhere.
Yeah, so you've got to do that, and then of course once you have that, you've got to have a system that you set up, which a lot of people leave. They just skip over everything and they don't set up their system properly. I can't tell you how much or how many emails I've had of people saying, what must I do? And they go back in their system and they find out that they haven't even gone through the setup of the system. So you need to get your email set up. And if you don't have all of that, we've had past Hangouts where we've gone through setting up your email, setting up your system. Once you have your system set up, then you need to have a strategy. Now, you could do YouTube, you could do the SAM method, you could do Instagram, you could do Facebook, but the key point is to remain consistent. And I said to Katie, if you're going to do a strategy, do it for 90 days straight with a 12-month commitment. All right, don't leave out. And if you hear somebody say to you, you know, do one or do two a day, all I did is I just multiplied that by two, and I said, this is what I'm going to do because I absolutely want this. And I mean, Katie's just the proof of the pudding, because everything Katie does, she's committed to it. I mean, she started out with this video challenge, and now she's absolutely doing it. And a lot of you guys watching this are wondering, why is it that I'm not having success? Ask yourself, do you have an absolute passion for what you're doing, a why? Do you have your system set up correctly? And are you being consistent with the strategy to the point where you're doing it every single day? Not doing one now and then one 4 days later and then another in 2 weeks. And I promise you this, every single person watching this hangout, I know Desmond does this, I know Ryan does this, I know Chris Pies does this, and Michelle Sorensen, she's also doing this because I'm seeing that she's being absolutely consistent with her video challenge. A lot of people are watching this hangout who are having success, are doing the exact type of things that Katie is doing. And that's why we say there's really no secret other than common sense. Know where you're going, you know, set up your system, use a strategy, and be consistent with it. It's that simple.
And believe in yourself.
And believe in yourself, absolutely.
And know that the products are there to teach you what you need to know. And the reason why there's so much information is because you have the freedom to pick and choose what you want to do. That's just it. Just do it. Just pick something. If you don't like it, move on to something else. Don't give up. You know, that's just silly.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I can't tell you how, I mean, I've been through the process of not being able to make a sale for 8 months straight. And I mean, you had 2 years.
Yeah, that'd make anybody quit, but I didn't.
Yeah, but you see, this is the type of thing, if you're going to get into a business, any sort of business, forget about online stuff, people that are absolutely committed to their, what niche that they're in, have this mindset that, you know what, I'm going to do this no matter what. I'm going to do this because I want to do it. And I'm going to do, if I don't make it, or if I don't manage to make money this month, I've just got to figure out a way how to keep going. And this is true with me, this is true with Katie, this is true with Chris, I'm sure it's true with Michelle, Desmond as well. We just find ways to keep on doing this. Don't give up on your dream. And the difference between you and somebody else who's working a 9-to-5 job is that you are different because you have different ideals you want to live up to. You don't want to be stuck in the same job every single day, and you know, working sometimes 7 days a week. And it's horrible. You know, my why comes down to the fact that I never want to be in a position where my boss is ridiculing me because of a silly mistake I made, and all he wants to do is fill his ego and say, you know, how good he is and how bad I am. And all I want to do is just punch this guy in the face because I'm feeling humiliated. That's exactly how I felt, and I never want to have that feeling again. So I've always been different. I've always been a person that never likes to work, just like Katie. I have always said, you know what, one day I am going to be in a position where I do not have to rely on anyone. I actually had a kind of a fantasy of just being a waiter for one day until somebody gave me grief, and I just walked out. I just wanted to do that, you know. Maybe I still will. But the thing is, if you want to make a success of online, you've got to have this attitude of saying, I am not going to give up until I succeed. And I said it to a friend of mine. I said, I will do this until I die. And you know, it's kind of a joking thing, but that is the attitude you've got to have. If you want to make this thing work, if you've got this inclination, I'm just going to do this for a few months, see how it works, you're already lost. If you're going to say, I'm going to give it a try, you've already lost. You are going to make this work, and that's why we are so emphatic about listening to inner circles. That is why we are so we're pressing you on being listening to stories like this so that you can share it with other people. All right? Nowhere on earth, when you go working, in a 9-to-5 normal job where you're getting so much grief, are people encouraging you. If you're hanging around those people all the time, no wonder you feel depressed. No wonder you're having such a bad time. All right? When you start to surround yourself with successful people, you're going to come against opposition. You're going to get people saying, hey, why are you working so hard? Don't you want to spend some time with me? I don't understand why you committed to this. This is just crazy. And then what happens? A few years later, they're doing the same thing, and guess what you're doing? You decided to take the day off because you wanted to do something with your family, or you just wanted to go and visit. I can go and visit a friend every single day of the week because I can. And how many of my friends can say that? They can't. Why? Because they got a job to go to. It's so great. I've never had this feeling. I realized this the other day. I can wake up Sunday. I used to dread Sunday, right? Because Monday's coming around the corner, and Monday you have to work. But I don't have that feeling anymore. It's kind of just gone. And people say, how is it that you're able to get there? It's just through sheer determination. And yes, there were times when I started, I couldn't make my payments. I went into grace. I even went into lockdown twice, going Power Network. And I had no money. So what did I do? I went to my friend and I said, let me work for you, and I would just do what you want me to do. I sold anything I could to get some money so that I could stay in the system. And I was so determined. I still get people today that perhaps get a little angry at my commitment. But what's the difference? The difference is I have the time now to do what I want to do. And that's exactly what Katie, what Chris, and what we want to experience. So, yeah, I don't know, Katie, please carry on.
Oh no, you're doing great. I love it.
Man.
I love it when you talk, man. You're just like, oh, that's so awesome. So, there's a couple of key points that I should have wrote them down. Oh, I forgot. Dang it. But yeah. I think stories are, always listen to stories. I think they're key, because then you get to resonate with them. And there was a point I was going to make, and I forgot. Oh, crap.
Don't think of the guys, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I don't want to hear stories because I'm not the person that gets motivated by stories, because I know some people might be thinking that. But I want you to listen to this and say, you know what, maybe somebody else could hear this. Maybe you want to take this hangout and share it with somebody else. Go ahead, download the video, install NetVideo Hunter on Firefox, download the video, put it up in your blog, and listen to Katie's story. Just be somebody who's thinking about somebody else instead of thinking, how can I get something out of this all the time? Because half the problem with people failing is that they think that everything is about them. When you start thinking about other people and making them a priority, that is when you start to see success. All right? Now, this is exactly a theme that runs through with all leaders who are successful, because they've taken the time. Look at Tracy Walker, right? Tracy Walker is $1 million earner. And I managed to get hold of Tracy, of which I saw her live in an event, but I never had time to meet her. And I asked Tracy, I said, hey, Tracy, do you mind if you can answer some questions? And she said, absolutely. I'm not even on Tracy's team. But this is the point. You've got to keep trying until you reach some way that you're going to get a result. And one of the things I'm going to do next week is I'm going to tell my story. Okay? And maybe you guys haven't heard it, but let me tell you something. Living in a third world country, you got a lot of obstacles because you have nothing. $25 is literally like $250 where I come from. In fact, it's a lot worse now. It's almost like $380 because the currency exchange is so bad. But taking a situation where you come from nothing and then working your way up to where you got something, people are thinking, how on earth can you do that? Well, I've managed it. And I'm going to show you exactly what I did. And so you can take that and share that with somebody else. Um, don't ever be afraid to tell your story. But here's something else you want to do whenever you're telling your story. Don't tell your story until you've reached some success in your life, okay? So if you've got a bad background and you're really struggling right now, wait until you start seeing success before you tell your story, all right? So people can see the other end of it. And that's why I wanted Katie to share that story with you, because even if you've been in this business for a long time, you know that there is hope. There is no difference between me or Katie or Pops or Jamie or Brenda or anybody here aside geographically. We are people that have make mistakes. We're people that can inspire one another. The only difference is, what are you doing with your life? Are you looking at yourself, or are you trying to help other people? Because here's a tip for you: if you are depressed or if you suffer from depression, which I did for a long time in my life, the one way you can get over it is by start helping other people and making it a habit. Because the moment you start focusing on other people, you stop thinking about yourself. Because ultimately, depression is about you focusing on your problems. When you start focusing on other people's situations and how to solve them, then you have success. Because you can be rich and still have depression, right?
Yep.
You can have all the money in the world and still have depression. Why? Because you've got so many problems. And that's why a lot of people who don't have a lot of money are successful, because they focus on other people. And now all we are trying to do is to tell you that you can take your situation and you can make it about other people and get training and learn how you can become successful. So take
Now,
yeah, carry on.
I was gonna say, now you're telling people, like, don't tell your story until you've become successful. So what you could do is you can use other people's story. You have an upline. That's a fact. You have an upline, unless it's like Dave Wood, then you can use his story. But you start seeing, well, we're all on the same team. We're all on the same team. Let's just say that. That's it. Period. Okay. So what you could do is people that you know and connect with and talk with on a daily, okay, and that are in Empower Network, and you see them on the leaderboard. See if it's okay that you could actually use that. Like, this is, my team is having success. You can use their story. You can take snapshots of like the leaderboard and say, look at my whole team is like, this is amazing. They've been on the leaderboards for like 6 months, so people want to be attracted to that. Now, real quick, for me, I'm attracted to the lifestyle. I'm not attracted to the money part of it. Okay? Yes, it's nice to have the money, but for me, money isn't what makes me happy. What makes me happy is me being happy with what I'm doing, and money is just a bonus. Okay? And it's something that I'm already going to do is I'm going to donate to a whole bunch of charity, because I'm not very materialistic. And so what I'm attracted to, if you're like me, what I'm doing on my Facebook, if you see my Facebook, is that it's all about lifestyle. It's all about positive stuff, because that's who I am. I'm not forcing myself to do that. That's who I am. And so that's what attracts me. I don't tell people, it just looks, I don't know. It just looks better if it's lifestyle. That's just me, though. So I don't know about if that helps.
Yeah, now for me it's very different. For me it's not about, I'm not about traveling and all of that stuff.
Right.
I have a passion of helping young people. I've been a youth worker most of my life, and what I want to do is actually create like perhaps a soup kitchen, or some way that I can actually contribute back to my society, because we have a lot of people in this country who are hungry, and a lot of people. I mean, I met a guy years ago. I said, "What is it you do?" And he said, "I'm desolate," and I could not respond to that. And I want to be able to provide a way that I can help people become successful online, so they can create themselves a business and not be confined to thinking that they're a loser. That is what I want to do with my life. I'm not a big traveler, never will be. Um, but that is something that I want to do, and that's why most of my videos are about helping people overcome hard situations like depression, not being able to read properly. I can't spell for anything, man. I really have a problem with spelling, to the point where if I write a blog, if I go over it 5 or 6 or 10 times and I put it out, somebody will say, hey, there's a mistake in the title, and it just drives me nuts. So what I do, I just do videos because I do what I love and I do what I care for. And the more you practice, the better you become. So just be
Exactly.
who you are.
And I can speak for Pops too, that we both come from a history of a lot of jobs. I'm learning a lot about my Pops. You know, he's got a list of jobs too. And the reason why we're attracted to travel, because we were stuck in that brick and mortar, like you have to be at a job. And there's a phrase that I've coined recently is that if I miss a day, then I miss a pay. That's why I never took a day off. That's why I never went traveling, because I felt like I was going to miss a paycheck and less money, and that's from a scarcity mindset. So now it's like I have the freedom. I don't have the freedom to just drop a hat and go. I have to save up money to go traveling. So, but I still have the freedom to look in the mirror and say, I'm gonna go on vacation like next month. Like plan on like tomorrow night we're gonna go to Colorado. We're gonna plan on going to Colorado in February. So that's just it. And it's such a cool thing to do.
I just look in the
So.
mirror and say, can I go? And the mirror will say, heck yeah, go.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to share, Katie, with us? We've got like 10 minutes.
Oh, I got like 9 minutes. Maybe everybody wants a fresh cup of coffee and something to drink and go potty before Empower Hour.
Does anybody have any questions they would like to ask Katie? I'm sure you may have.
Good Q&A.
Thank you, Jamie, for your questions. They're always insightful. Guys, if you're not following Jamie, follow him. He's like one of the most interesting people. It's really, really interesting. He's always full of amazing questions, and I really appreciate it.
He just likes to stump us. I think that's what his life goal is, to stump the panel.
Yeah. And also, let me also say that I want to congratulate Chris Pires on reaching boss. Man, Chris, I tell you something, brother. You work really, really hard, and I know that you're seeing success because you're just being consistent. And I know that Chris does a lot of things. Congratulations, brother, on your success. And I know that we're going to have success because I'm pretty sure that Kerry's going to go boss pretty soon, and Andrew's going to go boss pretty soon because I know they're seeing success, and they're fairly new in this business as well. And all you have to do really is just make sure you get 5 sales so you can get boss. And the more people we can get to go 5 sales, the better you're going to, the more you're going to be getting. So that's where we're aiming at. So congratulations to everybody. I also want to give a shout out to Nurse Brenda. Is that Nurse Brenda? Michelle Sorensen. I see you doing those video challenges. Man, you really are consistent. And Giovanna, you're watching as well. I'm glad you're still with us. Giovanna also is really consistent. Guys, you're just amazing, and we really appreciate you being here. And remember that you can invite people to this hangout just by, in fact, Katie will give us the link, I'm sure, at the end, where you can actually put your Empower Network ID on the end, and then you can send it out to your list so people can listen to this as well. Pops, do you want to share something with us?
Jamie put in, he tries to stump you guys, but you are amazing leaders, and I'm grateful that I found you and Pat's team as well. Maybe you guys wore them down.
Oh, man. Cheers, Jamie. Appreciate you, brother. Ready. I was worried my vid was not very good. Can you elaborate, Brenda?
You know, in my opinion, the way I started out with videos, any video is good. Especially after you do them for a while, you're just going to know it. What I do and what I finally started doing was I'd do a video and I wouldn't even look at it again. I'd just put it out there. Because if I looked at it, I wouldn't post it. And then I realized that I'm getting better and better at them. It's taking time, but I'm getting there. I'm not as animated as Katie and actually you, Dave. I'm kind of a just sit here guy. In fact, they want to check my pulse most of the time to see if I'm still alive. But, you know, it's just the way I am. I'm just mellow. And you
but
guys,
people relate to you. People relate to you, Pops. They absolutely do. there's no question. I mean, you have a certain personality type that somebody's going to relate to. And I'm not actually that animated on video. I'm actually quite serious most of the time. I know Katie's all over the place, and she likes playing around with the videos. But you don't have to be someone you're not. A lot of the time when we get on camera for the first time, we try. I don't know if you. I've said this a number of times, but if you've watched The Office, the American version and the British version, if you can get to watch the British version, you watch people in the office, and it's just amazing how when they on camera they try and be somebody they're not. And here's the thing: if you want to get used to that, here's a tip you can do that I got from somebody else. I'm not going to say his name. I don't want to. But what you can do is make a video and talk to yourself from the future. Okay? And so make this video and say, hey. So if it was me, I'd say, hey, Dave, I'm making this video from the future for you because I want to tell you that you're extremely successful and that you really have made it. And all of that practice that you've done on video has really paid off. And be as natural as you can and look at the camera when you're speaking. All right? And every time you're feeling down, listen to that and play it back to yourself. And maybe make a few more so you can become natural. Or in fact, make a video, talk about something, show it to a friend and say, was this natural or was I trying to be someone else? Because when I got started, the first thing I would do is I would say, hi, my name is Dave, and I'm making this video from South Africa, and I just wanted to share with you this system that I'm using, which is really great. And I'd make so many mistakes. I'd say, so click on the link that says, it's Empower Network. It's from empowernetwork.com, and I'd make all of these mistakes. Oh man, it's so embarrassing. Maybe I'll put a few up in the group so you can see it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Hey, I got a golden nugget that I would like to share with you, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
One of the things that helped me make a video and make it so engaging and like personal is think of that one person, not like the millions that are going to be watching it anyways. Think of that one person that you can change, that you're going to change their lives or that you're going to help. It's not get 5 sales. It's how many, get 5 people that you can help. So just think of that one person that day that you're going to help. Even if you have to like attach a photo next to the camera lens here of someone that you know and you're talking to them. I mean, why not? That helps.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to practice like that.
3 minutes to Empower call.
Okay, yeah, guys. So we've got 3 minutes before we're saying goodbye, and you want to click on that link below that says the Empower Call, and also share it in Facebook, share it to your list. You want to get on that call and listen to it. Perhaps you want to get on a hangout with a friend and listen to it together. That also might help because that also helps with accountability and stuff. Katie, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Really
I'll get better.
I'll
get better. I mean, I felt like I was kind of rambling, but I'll get it down to like compelling. I want it compelling.
Guys, if you thought Katie's story was great, please say yes.
Oh boy.
So, yes.
Feed my ego.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
All right, so guys, listen up next week because next week we're coming back. I'm going to be telling my story. Maybe you guys haven't heard it, or maybe you have. But I'm going to be telling my story for a lot of you that haven't heard it, because I know that I need to tell it again. Living from a third world country and how I was actually able to live on an American salary, which in my country makes me super rich. but be here next time for this hangout. We really appreciate everybody being here, and we're signing off right now. Cheerio.